Welcome to our channel. I am Sachin.
And I am Soham. So today I will explain what exactly is creatine, how it works in your body, what types are available, and how to take it properly. All backed by science, not gym myths.
So let's start. First, what is creatine? Creatine is not a steroid. It's actually a natural compound made by your body, mainly from three amino acids. First, arginine, second, glycine, and methionine. About 95% of body's creatine is stored inside your muscles, and the rest is in your brain, liver, kidney. You also get some creatine naturally from foods like red meat and fish, but the amount is very small, roughly around 1 to 2 grams per day from your diet.
For example, think of creatine as your muscles' backup battery. When your main battery means energy starts to drain during an intense set, creatine steps in to recharge it quickly.
Second, how does creatine work? To understand how creatine works, let's talk about energy for a second. When you lift weights or sprint, your muscles need quick energy. That energy comes from a molecule called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. The problem is your muscles only store enough ATP for about 5 to 10 seconds of high intensity work.
Here's where creatine comes in. When ATP is used, it loses one phosphate molecule and becomes ADP, adenosine diphosphate, which can't provide energy anymore. Creatine donates a phosphate group to ADP, converting it back into ATP. That's mean more ATP equal to more short burst of power, equal to more reps, more strength, and better performance. And that's exactly why creatine is scientifically proven to improve first, strength and power output, second, sprint performance, and third, muscle mass.
Let's take an example. Imagine you are doing squats. By the 8th rep, you start feeling tired. That's when creatine helps. It works like a quick power bank, giving your muscle a small energy boost so you can do 1 to 2 more strong reps.
There are many forms of creatine in the market, like creatine monohydrate, creatine HCl, buffer creatine, creatine ethyl ester, and more. But let's keep it real. 95% of studies have been done on creatine monohydrate, and it's still the gold standard.
Other forms claim better absorption or less bloating, but there's no strong scientific evidence proving that they are better than monohydrate. According to studies published in Journal of International Society of Sports Nutrition, says that creatine monohydrate is the most effective ergogenic nutritional supplement currently available to athletes in terms of increasing high-intensity exercises, capacity, and lean body mass during training.
Now, let's talk about how to actually take it, because people overcomplicate this part too. There are two common methods. Option 1, the loading phases. You take 20 grams per day, split into 4 doses of 5 grams each for 5 to 7 days. This quickly saturates your muscle with creatine. After that, you move to a maintenance doses of 3 to 5 grams per day.
Option 2, no loading phase. If you don't want to load, you can just take 3 to 5 grams daily from the start. It takes around 3 to 4 weeks to reach full saturation, but it works just as well long term. Now question is, which form is the best? See, the no loading method is the best way to take creatine. Just take 3 to 5 grams daily. It gives the same results as loading, but without side effects like bloating or stomach upset. Now let's talk about what science actually says. Because when it comes to supplements, opinions don't matter, research does. There are 2 major studies show how powerful and effective creatine truly is, not just for muscles but also for your brain.
Study number 1, creatine improves memory and brain function. This was a systematic review and meta-analysis, which means researchers analyzed multiple randomized controlled trials to get the most reliable conclusion. They found that creatine supplementation significantly improved memory and cognitive performance in healthy individuals, especially in conditions where the brain was under stress or lack oxygen or sleep.
Study number 2, creatine boosts strength and training adaptations. This second study reviewed how creatine affects training performance and muscle growth. But the results were clear. Individuals who took creatine showed greater strength gains, their muscle mass increase, and better performance in repeated high-intensity exercises compared to those who didn't supplement. The result is simple. More phosphocreatine equals to more ATP regeneration, and that leads to more reps, more power, and faster recovery.
Now let's talk about the most confusing part about creatine, the myths. You have probably heard things like creatine damages kidneys, or it causes dehydration or even hair loss. Let's break this down one by one using real science, real studies, and clear logic.
Myth number 1. Creatine damages the kidney or liver. This is one of the biggest fears that stops people from using creatine. You will often hear creatine affects your kidney or it damages the liver. Now let's look at what research says. These two studies are usually quoted to support this myth. First, potential adverse effect of creatine supplement on kidney in athletes and bodybuilders. Second, effects of oral creatine supplementation in patients with MELAS phenotypes and associated with neuropathy. At first glance, it sounds like this study says creatine causes kidney damage. But when you actually read them carefully, the reality is very different.
These studies were done on people who already had pre-existing kidney issue or genetic kidney diseases. In such cases, the kidneys are already weak, so any extra workload, even from supplements or high-protein diets, can make it worse. But in healthy people, there is zero evidence that creatine damages the kidneys or liver. Hundreds of long-term studies have confirmed that creatine is safe for people with normal kidney and liver function. Myth number 2. You must drink 4 to 5 liters of water with creatine or you will get dehydrated. Let's see what science says. According to the study, creatine supplementation increases total body water without altering fluid distribution. Creatine increases the amount of water inside your muscles, not outside in your body. Here's what that means. Creatine is an osmolyte, which simply means it attracts water molecules into your muscle cell. That's actually good because more intercellular water means your muscles are better hydrated, perform better, and recover faster.
Now let's clear this up. You don't need to drink crazy amount of water like 4 to 5 liters every day just because you are on creatine. Overhydration can actually wash away electrolytes like sodium and potassium. In extreme cases, drinking too much water too fast can even make you feel bloated, tired, or weak, sometimes called hyponatremia. So what's ideal? Around 2.5 to 3.5 liters a day for most active people is perfect. With number 3. Now let's talk about the most controversial topic. Does creatine cause hair loss? The one study that started this rumor is 3 weeks of creatine monohydrate supplementation affects dihydrotestosterone to testosterone ratio in college-age rugby players. Here's what this study did. 20 rugby players took creatine for 3 weeks. Their testosterone levels stayed the same, but their DHT level increased by around 40 to 50% during the supplementation phase.
Now, DHT is a more active form of testosterone. But before jumping to conclusion, we need to look at what this study didn't prove. First, it had only 20 participants, a very small sample size. Second, it lasted only 3 weeks, far too short to study hair loss. And most importantly, the researchers did not measure actual hair loss. They only measured hormone levels. So, this study doesn't prove that creatine causes hair loss. It just shows a temporary hormone change that might be worth studying further.
Now, I'm a big advocate of creatine, but I also believe in being honest. There are some people who claim they noticed hair shedding after starting creatine, but right now, there is no strong scientific proof linking creatine directly to hair loss. First, if you start taking creatine, just keep eye on your hair health for a few months. Second, if you notice unusual shedding or thinning, stop and consult a dermatologist. Third, if you don't notice any changes, then keep using it confidently because the benefits of creatine are huge. In short, we don't have enough solid long-term data to say that creatine causes hair loss. It's better to observe your body, what I call a self-test approach. If it suits you, great. If not, stop. And it's simple. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, share it with your gym buddy, and don't forget to follow and subscribe to Burn and Learn Fitness video for more science-based fitness and nutrition content. Because here, we don't follow trends, we follow truths.